We are here in a panel about quantum computing in Asia, and I have three distinguished guests: Horibe-san from G-QuAT from AIST, Demarie-san, Tommaso from Entropica Labs, and Brad Kim from MegazoneCloud. Maybe I can start by having you introduce yourself and talk about a little bit about the quantum program in the country you're from, Singapore, Japan, Korea, and specifically, how is it different than the others? So, Tommaso, would you mind going first?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Yuval. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Tommaso. I do not represent the Singapore government, so I cannot speak on behalf of either the Singapore government or any of the initiatives in quantum computing there. But I've been in Singapore working in the quantum computing space for more than 10 years at the moment. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Entropica Labs. We are a software company building the software layer that you need to enable fault-tolerant quantum error correction. And I think it's fair to say that we are very entrenched in the Singapore ecosystem. Singapore is one of the countries in Southeast Asia. I think it's fair to say that in a way it is the gateway to Southeast Asia as a whole, which is one of the fastest growing region economically on the planet at the moment. And what is unique about Singapore is that they actually started their quantum computing efforts in 2002, if I'm not mistaken, which is a long time ago. And the most iconic symbol of all those efforts is the Center for Quantum Technologies, which is a center of excellence nested within the National University of Singapore. That has been established more than 16 years ago, actually. And it was, I believe, the very first, in fact, I'm pretty sure it was the very first center of excellence or center for quantum technologies in all of Southeast Asia and one of the very first in Asia overall. And what is unique about Singapore is that up to date, they have either invested or pledged about $700 million in total for quantum technologies overall, so computing, communication, and sensing. And they want to establish themselves as the go-to location in the region if you want to work on quantum technologies overall. There is a very active ecosystem. There are two companies, well-known companies. One is Entropica, the other one is Horizon Quantum. There's a very well-known company in the communication space called Spectral, which is working with Toshiba from Japan to establish a quantum-safe network on the island. So overall, what I think is special about Singapore is maybe not unique, but is the fact that for a tiny country in Asia, we have an incredibly active ecosystem across the full spectrum of technologies with pretty heavy investments from the government.
I'm Masahiro Horibe, and nice to meet you, and thank you for giving opportunity to explain this national study in Japan. And then, I used to work in the Japanese government office, and I contribute to the latest two strategies in Japan. And then also the Japanese government updates the quantum strategy every year. And now is also in progress of the update. And then the Japanese government first edition of strategy published 2020 January, and then at that time that strategy is basically focusing on the basic research, not includes the industrializations. And then after 2 years, 2022, the Japanese government shows the vision of quantum future society. It's a society image using the quantum technology in futures. And in the last year, 2023, it's the government released the quantum future industrial development strategies. It's like as a roadmap to implementation of the quantum technology to societies. And then based on that new strategies, it's Japanese government invests to the AIST, our institutes, and then so established a new center. It's a G-QuAT. It's last year. And the G-QuAT name is Global Research and Development Center for Business by Quantum Technologies. That center name includes the business. This means that so our center is not only focusing on the basic research, but also the creating the business using quantum and then the classical computing or classical technologies. Then the G-QuAT is established last years, and then so we are now building the headquarters buildings, and then so other laboratory buildings, and also we already decided GPU cluster. It's almost over 2,000 units of the NVIDIA GPU 100 class GPUs, and then that GPU machine is used for the quantum technologies. So that type of GPU cluster is the first machine in the world. It's just focusing on the quantum technologies. And also the G-QuAT is committed to install the superconducting type quantum computers provided by Fujitsu. It's a domestic quantum computers, and then so also neutral atom quantum computers from QuEra in United States. And then recently, so that we also committed make a contract to the Japanese startup, so they will establish a photonic quantum computer in the G-QuAT. And then so the next years, so we start to operate GPU clusters and the 3 types of quantum computers in the same place, and then the hybridize the computer resources, the classical and then the 3 types of quantum computers. And then so also the that is just the infrastructure, the tools. So our mission is our mission are there are 2 things. One of them is use case creation for the industry level, and then the second one is next generation quantum computer development, including the supply chain development. So here, because in Japan, it's there is many types of the end users for the material companies, the bio companies, also the manufacturing company, and so on. So they now use the existing digital transformation technologies, it's the data science. They have interest about the quantum technologies. And then we provide our resources to the users, and the users create a new solution using the existing computers and the quantum technologies. And then also we also collaborate with a big quantum computer company. We already released information. We already start to collaborate with IBM to develop the next generation quantum computers. And then so also the next generation quantum computers. So we need the new component and the next generation component it requires. So we are now start to collaborate with at least 30 companies in Japan. And then so we support to develop the new component, a new instrument to use next generation or the next generation quantum computers. Yes, and then so we release the next generation quantum computer to users access them, and then the users feedback to some issues, technical problem to the hardware side, and the hardware side improve the next generations. And this is R&D ecosystems, and then so users create new solutions, and to implement the society, they monetize that one. And then so that money is reinvested in the quantum areas. So that is a big business ecosystem. So we create 2 types of business ecosystem. So this activity is so basically listed on the Japanese national strategy now. So we are also the globalization is very important because business is now global. So first of all, we are collaborate with Asia Pacific countries, and then we have to make the economic sectors in the Asia Pacific areas. Yeah, collaborate with Korea and Singapore and other countries now. Thank you very much.
Hi, this is Brad Kim. So from the MegazoneCloud. So I am acting CQO for our company. So I'm in charge of the business and the technology strategy for our company. So MegazoneCloud has been very successful cloud service company in South Korea. So we achieved the 1.1 billion US dollar in last year. So I mean, that is kind of the very amazing story. Actually, the MegazoneCloud is spin off from the Megazone 2018. So since then, I mean, almost 6 years. So the revenue is around 7 times bigger than before. So that is kind of the very amazing story. So let me share the, thanks for having me here. And it looks like, the Korea, the quantum strategy and the initiative is very, very long, like the several tens pages, the document. So it looks like to me, it's kind of I'm taking some midterm exam based on that. So yeah, let me share some contents of the Korea quantum vision, strategy and initiatives. The Korea quantum vision is that we are going to be the quantum economy leader in 2035. So every strategy and initiatives are aligned with that kind of vision we set up. So Korea government is claiming that they are going to invest 2.2 billion USD in next almost 10 years. So they are also nurturing the quantum experts from currently around 500 to 2,500 in 2035. So they are also increase the number of quantum related quantum technology-based companies from 80 to 1,000. That's what I remember right now. So that is a very, very the aggressive target, I guess. So in order to do that, government is a lot of things to do for the enhance some capabilities and nurturing the number of experts and something like that. So currently we have 3 quantum graduate school, which are located in the Korea University, AIST, and the Post-it. Those are 3 quantum graduate school. It looks like to me that the graduate school is generating the experts, like the PhD holders and master holders after 2 years or something like that. So gradually the experts is going to be in the job market after 2 or 3 years later. So another thing is that the government is very emphasizing some collaboration, international collaboration between Korea and Europe and America and some the Japan or something like that. So currently we have 2 the quantum supporting centers. One is in Europe and one is in America to bridge the between the outside technology and the internal requirement. So that is another one. So another thing is that government is also focusing on some industrialization. So in order to do that, the government is investing in the fab, like some quantum QPU, the chip manufacturing fab or something like that. So that is open to the public, students and researchers and something like that. So we can, use the open fab to design and the evaluate and testing or something like that. There is some kind of facility for the industrialization of quantum technology. So and another thing is that yeah, that is pretty much, but I don't remember exactly all everything. So that is the part of the strategy and initiatives. So another thing is that one more thing I remember. So currently, I don't know, what kind of metric is used for measure the technology level of quantum technology. Currently, we are thinking that our national technology level is around 62.5, but we need to, we are going to improve the technology level from that to the almost 85 in 2035. So that is the what the government is focusing on right now. So can I share some other the Korea?
Let me ask the next question.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much. And yes, I do want to acknowledge that all our three panelists here are not official representatives of their national quantum programs, but they're very familiar with it. I know quantum computers are not very good at math, but last time I checked, there are 41 national quantum programs. In every national quantum program says we will be between 10 and 25% of the global market. So either the global market is going to be very, very large, or something is not going to happen. My question is, to the extent you know, is what collaborations do you think the country or national program is looking for? And specifically, how open is it to collaborating from outside the country? I know in Europe, many countries are, you can buy anything you want as long as it's German or French. How do you see that in the countries that you're representing here on the panel?
Sure. Okay, if you went to most of the talks or the panel conversations at the Congress in the last few days, you might have understood that, especially from the United States perspective, and I will focus on quantum computing because it's my area of expertise, and most likely is also going to be the technology among the three that will have the largest disruption power or whatnot. But it's pretty clear that for the US government and the US entities, being the first country ecosystem in the world matters a lot. There is a strategic positioning, there is a defense angle to that, which gets emphasized over and over and over and over. I think what is maybe not unique, but what is different in Asia, or at least in Singapore, is that Singapore comes with a very pragmatic mindset. It is not about being the first country to come up with quantum computers. It is not about having that strategic angle. But Singapore as a society is very, very pragmatic. So what they're actually seeking is a technology that works and that can be applied to, to benefit the society at large. So either to produce more economic value or to, improve Singapore as a society and so forth. So I think what is very important to keep in mind when it comes to at least to Southeast Asia, or at the very least to Singapore, is that is a government, is a society that has a very pragmatic mindset. So for them, quantum computing, and now I can start answering your question, is really about understanding what works, what doesn't work, and incorporating it into the social fabric and the technology fabric of the country. So absolutely, we are very open to collaboration. It seems to me that the country is very open to collaboration. And historically, since the modern foundation of Singapore, has always been about bringing new technologies, new ideas into the country so that they can help to improve the society overall. And they're very good at that. They're incredibly good at that. And I think another important aspect to keep in mind is that Southeast Asia has a huge population, but at the same time is a very fragmented reality. Like in Europe, you have different states, but there are also common frameworks among the countries. But if you want to operate in Southeast Asia, and here I'm speaking more, or I'm trying to be useful for the people who come from the US or from Europe, if you want to work in Thailand, in Indonesia, or in Singapore, it changes completely. The local customs change, the language changes, the regulations change. And it's incredibly important to be able to work with the government. You cannot just show up and say, we have a technology, we're going to sell it, and it works, right? It's really important to work within the frameworks and the expectations of the local governments. So what works in Singapore, pragmatic, financial returns, even long-term views, it may not work in Thailand as easily, or it may not work in Vietnam, for example. So it's also critical to keep in mind that the different countries have different priorities. They have different expectations, and they also have different growth objectives. But the collaboration, certainly for Singapore, collaboration is key, and this pragmatic mindset is really what makes, in my opinion, the country very special.
Yeah, so we have not enough time. So I'd like to quick ask answers. And so first of all, we need to create the market first. And then that is a common issue in the world, I think. So we'd like to share some use case creations and then users demand, and then we collaborate with each country's its companies to solve the users' problem, users' issues. And because in Japan, there is the suppliers, also there is many users in the material sectors and in the bio sectors and the manufacturing sector and so on. So they require some type of software solutions, and in Japan there is not many software startup in the quantum sectors. So we need some more collaboration in the software sector, for example, the Singapore and then theirs. And then in the Asia Pacific area, so almost no big company, so there are quantum computing hardware vendors. And then so now Fujitsu is now released, but the other country, no company release the quantum computers. And then we set up some computer resource hub is in the Asia Pacific areas, and then so we direct access the computers, and then create a use case, and then create the market, and then so that is a collaboration areas. And then so after growing up the economic market, so after that, so it's competition. Yeah. So we first to create the competition environment in the market first, and this is the collaboration areas. They're creating the market. Yes. Okay, that's the next thing.
Okay. So as you know, the Korea starts the quantum technology development kind of late. So I mean, the international collaboration is very, very important. I mean, that's not more than that, likely critical to the Korea technology. So the government is very, like the encourage the collaboration, several levels, like university and institute, and definitely, the private company doesn't have any problem to collaborate with other, leading global companies. But the university has a little bit different story. That should be sponsored by the government fund or something like that. So especially, there is some kind of very specific program for the university. There is the Quantum University Alliance Program. That is the supporting some fund between the Korea University and the global leading university. So as far as I know, there are several university has already very good relationship, and that is sponsored by the government fund as well. So the institute is also very actively working with the global leading institute currently. So those things are very, like the programs which are the supported by the government right now. So it looks like to me, the collaboration is gradually improving and getting better and better right now. So that is the status in South Korea International Collaboration Program.
I must say you're making my job as a moderator very easy because I don't have to ask a lot of questions. I do have another question for you, and Tommaso, you touched on this a little bit, but what advice would you give to companies or universities that want to work or do business in your country? I mean, you mentioned, Tommaso, perhaps not just show up and say we're here, but work with the government, but maybe I can start with you and then the others about advice for working in Singapore, in Japan, and in Korea.
Yeah, sure. It's interesting because I've seen a lot of quantum computing companies from either Europe or the US coming to Singapore, trying to establish an office, maybe hire one or two people or move one or two people from their own country to Singapore with this idea of we're going to set up a big office, we're going to hire 20 people, we're going to sell a quantum computer, and then 2 years later, none of that really happened because it's complex. And I think the advice I would give is if you want to work within Singapore, it's very important to understand how the Singapore ecosystem works. And I think this applies well to Japan and Korea as well. Like, Singapore is a very top-down society, meaning the policies and the direction of the country come from the government. And they usually trickle down through different agencies. You may have AIST, which is the Agency for Science and Technology Research. You have the National Quantum Office, which is a specific agency that is now coming up with a quantum strategy for a country. You have funding agencies, some of them fully owned by the government, some of them partially owned by the government, and understanding how everything works and how everything comes together within the context of the vision that the government has for Singapore is very, very important. So it requires a little bit of, I guess, humility and just being willing to do the legwork and actually understand what the objectives in the long term are, and then it gets much easier to fit within that context.
Yeah. So the now is I think not only Japan. It's now the academic side and the industry side is a little bit divided to work to research and develop and also to create business. And then because most of all academic research is coming from physics areas, not the engineering areas. And then so basically is they are interested about the physics and then so theory of operations. And then so in the industrial area, so the most of all research is engineering side, and so a little bit it's a mind of a little bit has mind is strongly different, and then we encourage the academic area in engineering area. It's So we now access the engineering researchers and the Department of Engineering. So recently they have interest about the system level quantum computing development, and then so also the next and then so in the G-QuAT. So we are now set up different technical layer groups. It's one of them is device development, system development, architectures, middlewares, and application, everything. And in the recently, 2 or 3 group is considered the next generation solutions, the device and the system, and then the system and the computing and so on. And then, so we can create the new idea recently. Yeah. So this is one of way to solve this.
In the Korea initiatives, they defined the 9 technology. I mean, the technologies for the quantum side. So one of them is the component of systems of quantum computer. So I think the component can be from the academia area. So one of them is maybe for example, one of them is a kind of a cryogenic the component. So as far as I know, one professor is developing the cryogenic the component for the quantum computer system. So that can be from the academia to the industry areas. So other thing is some kind of the algorithm side and application side as well. So they are developing the algorithm in the academia, and then they are like the spin-off from the university to the industry area. So that is the the current status of South Korea.
Very good. I wish we could continue for a lot longer, but we have to finish. So Tommaso, Horibe-san, and Brad, thank you very much for being here today.